Greetings, welcome to day 76 of Project Dig. I hope you guys are having a good one. Project Dig is a 2D automation survival sandbox game that I am developing entirely here on Twitch and uploading the VODs to YouTube. I'm currently working on Cellular Automata. What is that? Cellular Automata is used for a lot of different things in games, but it's most commonly used for water simulation, especially in grid-based, typically 2D games. So Terraria, Korea, Starbound, those games all use Cellular Automata for the water simulation, but it can be used for much more. If you look at something like Oxygen Not Included, they use it extensively. At least I'm assuming they use it extensively for a lot of systems, for temperature and gases and germs, etc. And you can have this kind of simulation running where things spread or die based off of the environment and its neighboring cells. So for Korea, we started working on this, and Korea for Project Dig, coming off of working on Korea for a while, so I sometimes interchange names. That happens. For Project Dig, we were working on this yesterday, and ran into an issue with the compiler was like throwing some error and I couldn't figure it out. Guess what? Clean build fixed it. Because that's Visual Studio for you. So I actually got things working. I made like a few small tweaks, but not much. Not much. Because I like to do everything here on stream. So we can see that if we click, we can kind of see this like water is falling. This isn't the bottom, like it doesn't interact with the ground at all, it just falls down. So what I want to do now is make it so it interacts with the ground. So if you drop it into an empty space, then it's once it hits a tile, it stops. And then we can also like fix up the rendering a bit more. Yeah. So one thing I did that I had messed up yesterday is I got the X and Y coordinates messed up. It was specifically the Y is that I was calculating all of this and then I was multiplying it by the sizes or by the tile size. But that was a mistake because I was supposed to be calculating the Y position, multiply it by the Y, or multiply it by the tile size, and then offset that because this is pixels and this is tiles, and so we kind of had to like properly convert it. But yeah, that was it. So yeah, we're gonna be working on this today and hopefully be making a lot of progress with it. Just kind of adding more complexity to the water simulation. And I guess before we get into that, I should probably talk a little bit more about Cellular Automata and like the basics of it. I don't need to go super in depth right now because I think it'll become clearer and clearer as we're working on it. But essentially, Cellular Automata, how it works is that you have a map or a grid, something, you split it up into whatever. Like it could be hexagons, it could be squares or rectangles, whatever. But you have some cell which is a single unit, and then that cell can have neighbors, and it interacts with those neighbors. Such as for water, if you have one cell that has water in it, and the cell below that water cell is empty, then what you do, you run the simulation, and the cell says, hey, I have water in it, there isn't any water below, let's move the water in this cell to the cell below it. And that's it. And that allows water to fall down, and then you can add, and that's exactly what we have right here. And we also have some maximum quantity that the cell has of liquid. And then you can add more complexity, like, hey, if the cell below is full, or you can't fall into the water, can't fall into it, then check to see if the cells on the sides are open and available. And if they are, then try to have the water spread out in that way. And yeah, you just add more and more complexity to the simulation, but the idea is that you are simulating each cell. If the cell goes to split, or if the cell isn't active, like it hasn't changed, it's come to rest, or it's dead or empty, they typically call it dead, then that cell is no longer simulated, it becomes idle, and that's it. Yeah. So we have this right here. What this says is, hey, I guess we can start from the top. This is basically how we simulate a cell. We check if the cell is empty, then we discontinue. We don't need to do anything. At least that's for right now. Maybe we want to have it I don't know. We'll see about that. If the cell below is not, oh sorry, yeah, if it's within the bounds of the world, which is this check right here, or sorry, if it's outside of the bounds, then we skip. And then we get the cell below it. We make sure it has not reached maximum quantity, and then we try to spread out the water. And yeah, so like maybe here we might want to return, and up here we might want to, so we want to return here because the quantity is 0, so this cell has become empty. STD terminate. Happy birthday. It's not my birthday. Thanks. What's up? It's my birthday like 2 weeks ago. You're close. Welcome. So if the cell, we add the water from the cell above it to the cell below, and if it's overflowing, we've exceeded the maximum quantity, then we kind of put some of that water back into the cell above it, and then we set the cell below to be maximum quantity. If it hasn't reached maximum quantity, then that means that this cell is now empty, the cell above, and we can stop doing things. So like here, what we can now do is we know that there's still some liquid in the cell. Second child, it's best project. Yes. And so yeah, we can do something like, what we likely want to do is spread the liquid out to side neighbors. But before we do that, let's just add in logic for having like blocking stuff. So what we probably want to do is we have We have this below index. I recently went into the Discord and saw the news about the birth of a second child. Yes. Yeah, she's like 10 days old now. No. I think she's 12. Okay, yeah. She's 12 days old now. Yeah, thank you. Exciting. She's at a doctor's appointment. Lots of fun doctor's appointments. Probably not her favorite, but it's important. So what I'm thinking here, we have the ground map. Ground, tiles. I'm thinking about cheating here and just saying, hey, get the tile below. And I guess that's true. Let me look at our tiles. Might be nice to get the ID. Get data for the tile ID. I guess I could do that. Which is tile get ID or get data for this. And we check to see if it's solid. So that's if like we could also check if it's this. I guess we could do that for right now. Like this is the. No, we'll do is solid. Cool. What we could do is to say if. It's less than the maximum quantity. Yeah. We could do it like this. This basically will, this one little check here will make it so that water can't flow into that tile. Fortunately, this is pretty cheap to do. I like that. Okay, so yeah, this should work. Hey, Dallas, what's up? Nice. So if we, one thing that we could do for sure. So let's play around with this. We could, whenever we change a tile, we can wake up any water cells. So if we do this, we should be able to see like it falls more. Yep. See, it just falls down. It just it only stacks right now. So that's cool. Maybe I need to it would be nice to have it just like load this up, like, yeah, maybe let's just so we have like a little sandbox here. So here we are changing the tiles. The mod 9 is greater than 5, then set it to 1. I think I might say if index is mod, let's say 30. Wait, I need to do it in multiples of. What's the proper way to do this? I guess it needs to be if, yeah, here we go. Map.width is equal to 30. That will make it be a straight line. And index is less than, let's say, 600. I'm just trying to make it so it has some empty space, and maybe we'll say if the divided by map.width is equal to or is greater than or equal to, let's say, 8, and index divided by map.width is less than or equal to 14. Okay, so that probably seems like, oh whoops, I accidentally closed that. Seems like nonsense, but if I'm right, this should kind of create a little hole, and maybe it'd be easier if I just did this afterwards. But like, yeah. Oh, whoops. Looks like I messed that up. Okay. I guess what I could do is actually create. Okay, maybe that would be easier. Let's do, yeah, I screwed that up. I'm not completely sure how. But let's do it like this instead. Let's say for index, let's say, so let's make it like a little bucket. For uint 32t I is equal, oh, we could just do a size t. I is equal to 0. I is less than, let's say, 20 increment I. And what we'll do is we have our map tiles. So we'll just say I, and we'll have it offset and just go down, which is I times the map.width. And then our offset can be 20. Is equal to 1. Oh, whoops, that's ID. And then we'll have another offset that's 40, so it's this square basically. And then we can also do so that goes down 20. So what we'd want is, I think it's 40. Oh wait. Yeah, that's right. So, oh, this starts at 0. Okay, let's actually not do that. Let's have it start at 10. So what we're trying to do, and maybe I should make it just so I can load things up. What I'm trying to do is really just make a bucket, so it will look kind of like this. And then I was thinking about putting like 2 little dots in the middle. So we have this line and this line, the vertical lines. We want to make a horizontal, which should be, we need to do 10 times the map width. No, 10 times plus 20, right? So it'd be 30 times the map width. So that goes down X or Y 30. And then we want to have it start at 20 plus I. That should be right. Okay, so let's try that. What, this is gonna be like completely jacked up. Close. Close. How did that get off so much? Oh, it's because I is 10 now. Whoops. So I have to minus 10 from that. And then what we can do is we'll say map.tiles. You know, this would probably have been easier. Nah, this is fine. So let's say 25 plus like 20. Maybe we could do that. 25 plus 25 times the map width dot id is equal to 1. And we'll do another one that's like 26, 27. So that's down a little bit. And maybe one more, which is like 34, 24. And we should actually... Alright, one thing we should do is put one on the bottom, which would be 29, right? Oh, this one's wrong, huh? Yeah, these are all lower than I was thinking. I'm into 24. That's what I was meaning to do. Okay, so that should be on the bottom. Okay. So this way we don't have to set it back up every time, changing the tiles. There we go. Missed a little notch right there, but it's okay. So yeah, we can see it now fall. Wait, what's up with that? That's peculiar. Not sure why it stopped right there. That is weird. Yeah, like, what's up with that? It must be going to sleep for some reason. Yeah, there's a lot more we need to do with this. But anyways, we got that set up, so that's good. Excellent. So let's go back to this. And now, yeah, there's something wrong with the simulation. I'm not sure what it is. I don't see how it has to do, it must have to do with getting into some weird state, like I don't know. That's actually interesting. Hey, Capybara Land, you're testing fluids in your engine? Yeah, we're implementing a Cellular Automata system right now. That's right. We just started yesterday. Spread the liquid out to the side neighbors, so that would be where we just want to look at the two neighbors, and if the neighbor has less liquid in it than this liquid, or than that tile, then it transfers over. One thing I think I need to do is wake up more neighbors. Like if a cell changes, then we should update or wake that, add it to our list of actives. Hey, Zell created is asking if it's asking about Korea. Is it possible to change the max level through modding? Would it be easy or would it require a lot of modifications? It's fairly easy to just change the max level. I think you have to go to the player tuning file. There's actually a mod that has done this in the past. So if you look at the workshop, you can find it. I don't know if it's still available. Maybe it's gone. The thing about changing the max level in Korea is that there isn't any content there. So like, but yeah, all you just have to do is change the, and I can show you really quick, player.py. Where's it at? Yeah. Here we go. So the levels experience required and the player tuning file, this is just used to determine how many levels you have. So and there's the max level. And so you just set how much experience is needed for each level. And so this is just the quick way of saying, like, 300, 400, 600, 800, and then 1,000. So for 25 levels, you require 1,000 XP to level up. And then after that, it goes for 10, and then 2,000, or sorry, for 1,500, and so on. Yeah. So you just have to change this. It's not too hard. So what we need to do is get the side neighbors, but we also have to make sure that they're within the bounds of the world, which is something that sucks. Wonder if there's a good way to go about doing that. So I think instead of saying below cell, we're going to do south. I don't know. I guess we could go with left and right. So we could say left index. So what's this is a little trickier because we can't just check to see left. So what we have to do is, yeah, it's not adding that. It's I guess what we need to do is like get the remainder. Basically the X position, right? So we could say cell X 32 T cell X is the index mod the automata liquid width. So what that will do is calculate the X position. So within our so we have this map, a 2D map that's kind of flattened to a 1D array, and every row it goes like one row across and then the next row, and so it like 0 through the width is the first row in X value, and so if you mod by the width, you get the X position. If you are down on row 3, X position 7, so you're at 7, 3, then that's going to be 7 plus 3 times the width. And so, yeah, you just have to mod it. Hopefully that makes sense. I think I'm explaining it well, but maybe not. So we just want to make sure that this is not equal to 0. So if the cell is greater than 0, then we can try to spread the liquid out to that cell. Hey, Monk. Welcome. I think I'm mentally ill. That's not good. You should probably get some help. Easier said than done, I know. So if it's greater than 0, then we can get the left index. That's just index -1. We don't need this. We don't want to discontinue because we might want to have it go to other sides. And this is actually, that's true for this as well. Like, just because we hit the bottom, that doesn't mean that we can't have it spread out to the side. So this should probably say, hey, if the left index is less than this, I mean the, oh, dang it. I screwed that up. Let's fix this. This is supposed to be below index. I didn't mean to rename everything. That was a mistake. Okay, so if the below index is less than the size, then we can try to have it drop below. So this should go in there. Just like, so yeah, get rid of this. Here's the left index. We need to get the cell to the left. Left cell, left index. And then we need to check to see if, I think what we just really want to do is if the cell quantity is greater than the left cell. For now, at least, the left cell quantity. Maybe we need to say by 1. So we could add 1 here, just so that way it doesn't like have it flip back and forth if it's exactly 1. Then what we can do is move some of the liquid over. So it'd be something like this, but maybe not exactly. One of the tricky things about this is that what about the right cell? Like we might want to split it, and later we might want to add in this concept of flow. It definitely gets a lot more complex. A lot more complex. Just thinking about this. Because all these conditionals kind of suck. There's so many conditionals here. Yeah, I don't really like this code that much. There must be better ways to go about trying to do this sort of thing, right? I feel like there must be. The whole simulation side of things. maybe one thing we could do is just, instead of having to check blocks and see if they're solid or whatever, what if at some other point, like, we just set the tile data, like, we need to wake up the cells. So if the tiles ever change, we need to wake up the water cell. Like, you know, we have our water here, and let's say that we suddenly remove this block and the water needs to start pouring out. Changing that block needs to wake up this cell here, which will tell that cell, or whenever that cell gets stimulated, it tells it to flow down, and then we need to like wake up these other cells as well, and they need to start flowing down as well. And so it kind of like spreads out and starts waking up all of the cells. And so I was just thinking, like, maybe this system, this specific system, doesn't actually check the tiles directly. It's just, this could make things easier to some degree. Is having this like some way. Is this populating the cell instead of having like the quantity is less than the max? Maybe inside of here, we could do something special. Like there's the set the quantity to the max. There's the max liquid quantity, but we could also have like a, you know, a full, quantity, or like not full, but like a blocked liquid quantity, which is maybe sizes tile plus 1. So that way we know, hey, this isn't actually a liquid, or maybe we could have in here the liquid type could be none, which says, hey, this thing is full, like water can't flow into it, but it's also empty. I mean, you could break a block and give water room to flow. It creates new water. It doesn't actually displace. Yeah, that's in Minecraft. We're doing something different. Like, we're using Cellular Automata. Minecraft doesn't actually do Cellular Automata for the liquids. Korea, like many other games like Terraria, Korea, Starbound, they do have like that displacement and whatnot. And I mean, where water is woken up and it will like flow down and actually move. And there's also like actual displacement where if you like put a block in the water, it moves it. The best way to do that, and we actually talked about it some yesterday's, through pressure, or this like concept of having a liquid that is full, like it's beyond the maximum size. And so that's one thing that we would have to be careful about with this is like maybe there's the max liquid quantity, but we can go beyond that to some degree. And so we could have like a, yeah, I don't know, I guess we could have a liquid type. That might be the easiest, is to just say none. So we could put the quantity to like max liquid quantity, but also have the liquid type be none. So then it would block the liquid. So that way we wouldn't have to be checking this all the time. We would just see like, oh, hey, it's full. Hey, in Roselthric, hopefully I'm saying that right. Yes, the problem with the compilation was that it needed to be completely recompiled. I did a clean build, rebuilt, it worked perfectly fine. I don't know what's up with that. But yeah, so maybe we can make that change. We'll do that in a bit. Let's keep making some basic logic here, and then we will we can see the water flowing to the sides, and then we'll maybe clean some things up. There's a lot of complexity that you can add to liquids. Okay, so say if the cell quantity has more than the liquid, or the left cell. So we're checking to see if it can flow to the left. Then, if that's the case, maybe what we could do is move over half of the difference. So it could be like the quantity UN32T quantity. Alright, we just want an UN8. Quantity is equal to cell quantity minus the left cell quantity divided by 2. So we know it's at least 2 because it's at least greater than 2. So this will always be at least 1 that we would be removing. And then we add the quantity to the left cell, and what we need to do then is also remove the quantity from the cell. So we're basically transferring that liquid over. Yeah, and I think that's okay. The tricky part is whenever we now want to do the right side, and what if both the right and the left side is open? It will technically always prefer to flow to the left side before it flows to the right side, which is a little weird. What we might need to do is have like a special option here where we say, yeah, this is definitely tricky. What could we do for that? Maybe we have special cases for the, yeah, it sucks that one thing we could maybe do here is if this is equal to 0, like, man, I would like to have it be like this. What if we do this? So we say, let's have I think we can do a const expression. Const expression, liquid, cell liquid, full, or maybe like invalid liquid cell. And all it needs to do is do these. Quantity flow, liquid type, none. So this is kind of doing what I was talking about. I think this would work. Max quantity, 0. And so what this will do is make it so that instead of doing this stuff where we're like, oh, if it's greater, blah, 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 we can use this. So we can just say, hey, let's set the left cell equal to this thing. I guess we always want to do that then. Or I guess, yeah, this is probably fine. Yeah, I think that works. So just to like go over that, what we're doing is we're now saying, hey, if the left cell is invalid, just say that it's full. And then we won't try to spread any liquid over there. So like if we're trying to go out of the bounds. And we could probably do the same here, right? Where, like, get rid of this check. Well, I guess we kind of always need that check. Whoops. It would just be here where we would say if it's less than... Oh, that's the below index. Yeah, whoops. Hold up. It's right here. So we still have that conditional, but I think it's okay, right? I don't know. Maybe this isn't that great. It might be better. Oh, we can't do that because that's true. This is a const expression. Like, we can't change this value. So it technically should be immutable. So if I change that, then that's fine. We just have to be careful, like, that it never tries to flow into it. Like, maybe we could here, especially if we had this, like, concept of pressure or something. We have to be careful about that. I mean, one thing I guess we could do is set this to be higher than the max liquid quantity. So that way this would never happen. Same with this one. Yeah. Especially this one. Anyway, so X. So I was thinking about doing the right side now. What we would want to do is really split this. Maybe do it like this. Let's get rid of that for now. Automata liquid.width. I think that's right. Is less than. Oh, this needs to be cell X. Oh yeah, that's fine. We just want to say right index. Cell X should be less than what? I mean, that's always going to be the case, right? Do I need to add one to this then? I think so. We'll have to play around with the edging of things. So we get the right cell. So this is it's both. And this is where things get a little bit more complicated, where it's trying to spread stuff out. I don't think that's quite right anymore. I actually did this for Korea long ago. I don't know if it's good. Flow direction. So yeah, that's something that we probably want to factor in is the flow direction. Checks to see if we're colliding with stuff. Here's what it was doing. This is like, gets the total water, which is the all three. East water. Yeah, we definitely need to factor in the flow at some point. The remainder, right, divided by 3. The quantity is the total. So it just evenly splits it. Actually evenly splits it always. Like, I see. So it will not only take or put water into the neighboring cells, but it will also take the water out. I don't know if I like that. It might be okay. Yeah, and here's how it handles the remainder. If we have exactly 1, it always puts the water in the west. The remainder into the west tile. I don't know if I really like that either. Yeah, I don't know if I really like that logic. I don't know if it's good to even look at it. It might taint my thoughts on all of this. So we're trying to have the water spread out to the neighbors. There's a lot of complex scenarios here though, like, you know, we might have one cell that's partly full and the other one that's like completely full, and do we want to support like that, or I don't know. It might be good to have the cell take the water out as well. So yeah, what I did was it would actually just borrow the liquid. Of course, that wouldn't work for these. What happens if one of them are full update side neighbor? Oh, I see. Here we go. That's where it would update the side neighbor. Got it. Yeah. So this was if it could spread them out, and if it can't, then it updates the sides. This is kind of what I was just doing. Updating the flow, activating the parent. So it actually just tries to split it. So that's one thing that's different with this, is that I'm not only trying to move it to one side, I'm just like splitting it completely. Just something kind of more like this, where I say, hey, if they're not equal to each other, then let's have the water flow. I guess we could do this. We can try something like this. Plus the right cell quantity. Oh, this is true, is that they are currently invalid cells. Or they can be. I don't know how much that's helping then. Might be that we just have to scrap that part. Instead, use this and then put this down here. I think that might be what's best. So get rid of this. We're still kind of like sketching this out. It's like I said, this code is tricky for sure. So we'll just say, all right, this is the left cell. Oh, wait, at the left cell quantity. Yeah. We'll just say that. I guess that's true. Is that we kind of hold up. We kind of want to also do this check. Maybe it's best to just say if the left cell type is not equal to none. Oh, they actually need to be equal to the same, right? Or something like that, because like what if we have lava and water trying to flow into each other or whatever? Like that gets a little awkward. Liquid type. Oh wait, I guess that's true. Okay, hold up. We'll do it like this. Cell type is equal to the liquid type. And this. And the cell type is equal to the right cell type. And that. So now we're basically saying, hey, we have the left and the right side, and they're the same type, and they should be combined together. Then we can do this. Total quantity. What I'm thinking is that we'll just leave the water in whichever one is higher. That does make things a little tricky. Maybe. I hate all of these conditionals. I wish there was a better way to go about doing that. So that's the quantity, this is the remainder. So this is kind of the same code that we were doing. Right cell, and then we also have our cell quantity. So this will split up the quantity between the three cells. And then what we want to do is divvy up. Oh, that's true. I don't know. We lose the quantity at that point. I was kind of wanting to look to see which one is the larger ones and then leave the remainder in that. Man, there must be a good way to do that. What would be a good way to split up the liquid, but then put the extra in? Put the extra in the cell that has the most to start with. I don't really know if we want to do that. I think eventually what we're going to want to do is add in this concept of flow. Maybe what we'll do is we'll just always add the remainder to the main tile, right? Maybe that's what we'll do. Yeah. We'll see how that works. It's probably not quite right, but we'll see. Okay, so now what we need to do is check the others. Maybe we can have like a bool should flow left. Should flow right. We'll clean up this code once we get a better understanding of exactly what we're wanting to do. Because then this becomes, if it should flow left and right, then we'll do that. Otherwise, if we want to just flow left, then we want to do something similar, but we'll divide by 2. I guess we want to... Should flow left. Total quantity remainder. Yeah, this code is so similar. I wonder if we... Yeah. Whoops. Should flow right. I don't know exactly how this is going to be. We can try it out. Making the cells do all the work. I know. I'm not really sure about this, to be honest. Wait, this is UN32. Oh, that's an int. Whoops. We'll just make it be an int. Yeah, I'm not really sure about this code, to be honest. This is the first time I'm writing Cellular Automata in like 7 years. There must be some very elegant ways to go about doing this. We forgot to wake it up. We can see it splitting, so that's good. But they need to be woken up, right? Think we need to actives pushback. Yeah. This is the left index. This is the right index. Oops. Okay. Hey J-Rab, what's up? Oh, we forgot to check those tiles. Whoops. So they can flow out to the side. But you can see we kind of... I don't know why they get stuck like that sometimes. I'll have to look at that. Why can't I make any more liquid? What's going on? I think the game like broke. I think it's in an infinite loop or something. What are you doing? Yeah. Nice. We apparently have maximum number of actives going. Whoops. I think what's happening is that they're like waking one another, or they're pushing one another to be active. Or maybe this is just a problem, this whole like writing articles. How about you? I'm good, just working on breaking things. uh yeah, that's very high. We can see it like added a lot of that 5831. That's a lot. Why would it be doing that? I think it's because it's like one is waking the other or adding the other, which adds the other, and they're like bouncing back and forth. I think what I ended up doing for Korea was like I would skip the neighbors or something like that. So, or I'd like I would basically update the cells as if it was like a checkerboard. I'd do like all the blacks and then all the reds and then all the blacks and then all the reds. Um, yeah, I don't know if I really like this code. Maybe we could try it like this is where it's splitting it up. Maybe we could try it the other way where, and we'll just like comment this out. Well, maybe we'll comment this out. I think we probably could still use most of this up here. But what if we only have it so that the cell will move liquid into the other cell? It will not take liquid. So then I guess that would put that there. So our should flows, I think, would change to be more like this, where we say it's the same cell type, and it needs to be, the cell type needs to be greater than this +1, +1. If should flow left and should flow right, then that means it's being split between the two. So how should that work? This is the harder one. Once we add an actual flow, it's going to make this be a little bit even harder, trickier. We're gonna need to do something like this too. I forgot to do that. Maybe just right here. Left index. Right index. So it never flow if that's solid. And we'll probably change these to be something else later, like I was saying. Okay, so if we want the water cell to be able to flow to the left and the right, then how would we want to do that? I'm thinking that we would want to maybe I need to come up with the scenario and kind of play through that. So we have something where like maybe we have three blocks. 3, 9, the total is 12. Maybe we'll say 12 and 5. So that's our current generation for this is the quantity in the 3 blocks. Just like that. How would we want that to look like afterwards? So that would be a total of maybe we do just want to more or less split it. Maybe that's what we could do. In this case, it would be the same where, so that's 8, 20, 20 divided by 3 is 6, 6, 6 with a remainder of 2. And so we could say, hey, this has 8. In which case, this actually becomes a problem because it would still be 1. Maybe we would split it then. So any remainder gets added to the neighbors unless if there's 2 remainder gets added to the neighbors. So in this case, it would be 7, yeah, like this, I think. If let's say we only had 11, we'll do it this way. So this is, it becomes this. So this is Gen 1. This is Gen 2. If we were to have it like this, if it's 11, then it could be like that. Which is a little weird, but I think that's probably best. Try to split it up as much as possible. Alright, so then, yeah, that actually ends up becoming very similar to this code, where we calculate the maximum quantity, we split it up, and then instead of giving the remainder to the main cell, what we want to do is, and now I wonder, do we want to wake up the main, or set the main cell as being active as well? I'm not sure. One thing we do need to do is do this. UN32 previous index is equal to actives. Actives is a UN32. I think I might change that. Previous index. Well, this is okay, right? Actually, if we just make it be a uint32 max, this would be fine. uint32 max. Yeah, this is fine. So what we want to just do is say, hey, if the index is equal to the previous index, then continue. And then otherwise, let's set the index equal to the previous index. So that way it skips over any that we just did. Yeah. Okay, so other scenario. Let's found that the active list allows duplicate indices, but you only want to add a cell to it if it's not already there. Neighboring cells could add each other otherwise. Yeah, that might end up being the case. Like, I'm trying to see if I can get away with not having to check to see if it's already added. That's what I'm hoping to do. I don't know if that's going to really be possible. Yeah, I would like to try to avoid that though. Hey, Mind Rage, what's up? Unordered set. Yeah, I mean, we could do that, but that's expensive to have an unordered set. I don't know. It might be that we do need that though. Yeah, I'm actually using Google Maps for that stuff. But yeah, maybe we'll end up doing that. Back to the dwellings of the deeps, I see. Yes. That's right. Yeah, in which case we would get rid of this. Yeah, we could do that. We might. TSL maps have something for memory efficient maps. Yeah, I think Google does too. Alright, so otherwise here we'll say if we should flow left. So this is one or the other. So this is still kind of similar. Right? The difference is that we're only allowing the cell to flow outwards. We never allow or update like if the neighbors are. Yeah, that's the big difference. Should flow left. So that means we can put water into that. I think it's honestly like this code is almost exactly the same. Is this changing the should flow? In this case, we leave the remainder in the quantity. Yeah, this code. Yeah. Hey, poor fellow. Thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, new daughter was born August 10th. She's now like 12 days old. Her name is Emmy. Yeah, I think this is really pretty much exactly the same as what we had before. We'll see how this looks. It might be that we still have the same problem and we do need to make this be a set. Another possibility, instead of having it be a set, is that we set a flag on the cell saying if it's active or not. I don't know if I like that. Yeah. This stuff is tricky. So what data does a cell contain? Direction and height, volume? Ooh, that's a good one. if the index is equal to that. Oh, whoops. I got that flipped around. I meant to say the previous index is equal to the index. Right now, it really only contains the cell type or the liquid type and the quantity. I'd like to add in more data, obviously. Why does it get stuck sometimes? I don't get that. So we can see that's kind of flowing, right? It's definitely getting into like awkward scenarios. One of the things I really don't get, I think part of the problem is that if a cell changes, I think we want to wake that cell up as well, like this. And it should be updated again. If it did actually flow. Let me try that. Oh, this is definitely going to be a problem because, right, I mean, maybe. Cell quantity is equal to 0. I wonder if we would want to add it to that as well. The bottom cell is greater than that. I don't know about that. But yeah, I would like to add in flow, maybe even like some concept of pressure. It still gets into this weird state, like that's definitely being updated. Or at least I thought it was. Like, why does this not flow over? You see that? Like, we kind of have some basic stuff going on here. That's interesting. How it, like, just slips off of it? Like, what's up with that? Why is it that... So that gets pushed... Did I wake the wrong thing? No. So we flow to the right. We say the right index should become active. Why is it that it doesn't update? Like this should be flowing down. And you can also see this is like super awkward over here. I think there's a problem with how it's deciding. Does it update every single tile? It's only updating things that are on the active list. So that's likely the problem, is that it's not on the active list. So like one interesting thing about this is we can see, yeah, like why is it that whenever I drop this, it lands on that, it splits it between those three. That one falls down properly, but this one on the right side doesn't move down. Yeah, it always overhangs on the right. I was just trying to think why. Yeah, here's another scenario where that happened. Like, it's not even... That's so weird. Like sometimes it like decides not to flow down. Nice. That's cool. I need to make it so I can hold it down so I don't have to keep clicking. I really don't get this. So it's a hill and tree generator. Yes. That's exactly what we were going for. Now, if we come up with if we figure out what's happening here, I guess we could split on that, right? That's where it's going to say right here. It seems like I hit that a little too fast, right? Maybe not. I'm gonna move it over here and then see. Okay, yeah, here we go. This is where it's trying to split it. So it's 12, 0, 0. So then it says, okay, they all should get 4. Sounds good. We set them all to be 4. Oh, I totally forgot about the remainder. Maybe that's part of the problem. Is that we're actually losing liquids sometimes. That's a problem. So we then push these onto the list. So I want to know, why is it that, and then it goes to the next thing. I guess what I could do, what were these? 4632, 4631. So we could set a condition here that says if the index is equal to 4632, I think that's right, then it should break. Oh, I never hit it. Okay, apparently I screwed that up. How do I disable? Oh, ah. Okay, let me actually restart. I think traditional CA updates the state of the board, but looks like you're mutating cells as you go. Yeah, that's true. Maybe that's the problem. Motley. That is true. Is that I'm trying to do it all in place. That is probably the problem. Because it means that the next cell is going to be affected. So what would be the way to solve that? I guess it would be to be calculating the next generation, right? So like have like the current information and then the previous information. Maybe that's what we could do is like I mean that's a lot of extra data. But instead of like cells, it could be like we would need to do like a future cells or something. That's like the cells that we are changing to. I don't know, maybe we should do more like what is it called? Like a back buffer. Where we are alternating between the two. Maybe hashing the actives by position in order by location. Like spatial partitioning. So one tricky thing about that is if we yeah, maybe that will work. As long as we only have liquids flowing out of a tile, right? Maybe I need to come up with a better rule set for the cellular automata. But yeah, you're right that typically how it works is that CA is like it calculates or it does generations. And so I'll have one generation, applies the rule set, and then that's the next generation. And it applies the rule set for every single tile or every single cell based off of the current generation. And so I'm mixing the two generations, which means that it's constantly like in between, which is what makes it act very wonky. I don't know. Instead of doing future cells, one thing that might make sense, because we don't technically need. Oh, maybe we do need the type. I'm like debating if it would be better to just. I don't even know if we need future cells here. Maybe we could just put in the update. Where like, go into here and say, okay, let's have our we in this case we could actually just make it be an array, which is the size of our map. And this is going to be cell liquid. Does this need to be const? Maybe it does. I think that needs to be a const expression. So I suppose we do need to make it be a vector and just have it be a fixed size whenever we create it. And then what we could do... No, wait, no, we can't do that. Never mind. So this is the future. So like these. I do feel like I need to come up with a better rule set for this. Yeah, this would be like left index. This would be right index. So we're updating only the future generation. Oh, and then what we could do is a mem copy. So say do it into generation. The source is automata. Oh, whoops, I said actives. That's not what I want. I want cells. And do all of it. I think Noita did a GDC talk on how they handled their automata. Oh, really? That'd be super interesting to watch. Okay, so then this is what? The size of automata, liquid, cells, size, times the size of the cell liquid. So that will copy over all of the data from the current generation into the future generation. And then at the end, we need to then do a mem copy back. I don't know if I like this. So basically swap those two. I really don't know about this. I think I might need to go back to the drawing board. Yeah, I do think that this will fix some of the issues that we're having, though. Exploring the tech and design. Nice. Thanks for sharing that link. Which year was this? Oh, this was this year. Nice. Okay, cool. I will definitely watch that later today. They have obviously done a very good job with what they have. Okay, so this is just going to be the generation. Whenever we are setting anything, that's when we need to be low index. Changing it in the generation, which is like the future generation. They do explain how they multi-thread their simulations as well. Nice. Yeah, this would definitely be multi-threadable. Like, I guess if you ever did like border, like you could split this up, especially since we have these like different generations. The problem is like there's an overlap, right? Or something like that. I don't know. Actually, maybe if we're copy over the state, yeah, this was actually completely multi-threadable. Because we're all like, since it's going from the previous to the future, like we could easily just say, hey, you calculate, like get the entire state at the beginning. And the automata liquid cells is completely immutable. Like we're never changing it. So it's this read only. The generation is the thing that's being calculated. So we wouldn't have to. We could split generation up into smaller areas. So we could say like, hey, do this chunk of data. And we could even have it be contiguous, where we're like, hey, calculate the top 4 rows of the entire world. And then the next one would, the next thread could do the next 4 rows or whatever. And I think that would completely work. And then you just have to have a final thread that merges all of them together. And, or like be able to, I guess what they need to do is, at that point, it would just need a lock on the cells where you finally are doing some writing to it, where you're like, okay, now I'm going to merge in my generation calculation into the cells, which is just a quick mim copy. Basically splitting the worlds into a grid and doing a checkerboard pattern where it only updates its neighbors and swaps between them. No need for double buffering. Gotcha. Yeah, actually I mentioned that earlier, the checkerboard solution. Yeah. That's what I did for Korea. Yeah. That's interesting. So if you do checkerboard, you don't need to double buffer. That's only the case if you were doing your immediate neighbor, your 4 directional, not angle, or like the top, bottom, left, right. If you do diagonal, like bottom left or bottom right, then that doesn't work, right? The checkerboard. I think there's still some gotchas with that. I don't know, we can play around with this some more. I think I might need to really try to design things out a little bit better though. One thing I don't like is that's creating this every single frame. A huge vector. Like we don't really need to do that. It would probably be better to just put it in the cell or make it be static, like if we wanted to share it between multiples. Whoa, that's a lot of liquid it creates from a single one. There's obviously creating extra. I don't even know how that's possible. Remainder. And I'm like watching it. I don't know. Wow, this is really not going well, huh? um, I think I just need to come up with a better rule set for how it works. And she's still updating the cell quantity with the remainder. Yeah. Right here. But that should be okay, right? Oh, I see what you're saying. Anytime that the cell quantity is changing, I need to be changing the index. Yeah. That is a problem for sure. Right. That would also cause a problem here, right? I think so, where like basically what could be happening is that we could be moving some of the liquid down, but then it could also, and I think that's what's happening, is that we could say, oh, we're moving some liquid down, but we're also moving it to the sides as well. Which is a problem. I think that's the challenge with whenever you're doing a cellular automata with yeah. Whee! Um Whoops. That's not right. Yeah, anyways, what I was trying to say is that anytime that you are adding, well, we're adding in this quantity, and so it's not like finite, like is it alive or dead, and that makes these rules a lot more complicated. So you can have things like, oh yeah, this cell is half alive. Like some of the water is flowing down, but we also have some water flowing to the sides. And so with this generation, where we have this like awkward scenario where we're saying, oh, the water has flown down, but it's also trying to flow out. Yeah, it's already flown down, or like moved downwards, but then that same water could be moved out to the sides as well. Maybe I'm coming at it the wrong way. And instead of trying to have water move out, well, this would still be the same problem. I was thinking like maybe we could have water move in. So we'd say, hey, look at all the neighbors. If there's a neighbor, like look at the neighbor above. If it has any liquid, um, then try to pull that liquid down. If there are, and if we're still not full, then look at the neighbors. I guess if we're still not full, well, we could track the amount of quantity that's going into the cell. right? Maybe that is the better solution. And so then we just keep trying to like, oh, let's pull some liquid from above. Did that work? I still think that we would have that problem, though. Trying to think, like, how do we do this with the generation thing? I don't know. Maybe that just, like, doesn't quite work with this. Maybe I should implement, like, Conway's Game of Life and just get that basic thing working. Maybe that's what we should do. Just thinking about this. Yeah, what I've written so far I feel is rubbish. It doesn't work at all. Been so long since I did this. Maybe I really need to like sit down and sketch out a better design for all of this. So yeah, let's just try to think about the rules and what we could do to make it so it works. I think yeah, we need to take a step back. We had like something basic working, but I think it's like fundamentally flawed and we need to kind of reevaluate. Um, okay, yeah, let's figure this out. Liquid rules. Okay, so let's come up with a rule set that makes sense. So maybe we can try this approach that I did for Korea. I'm pretty sure I did this for Korea. We can double check. Wait, no, determine the correct X for looping. Maybe I don't, hold on. Yeah, here we go. Start. Okay, I've alternate direction. Let's see. So it doesn't look like I skipped them. I just alternate direction. inverse direction, and I'm guessing I flip this once a frame or what? Yeah, every update it gets flipped. I see. Oh, and I also flipped the direct. Oh no, yeah, it's only for the X. Yeah. Size. Oh, and it looks like we start at the bottom. So we start at the bottom, and we like. Let's pretend that this is our map. We'll start at the bottom, and we'll go in one direction, and we'll update this way. And then the next frame, we start from the bottom again, or the next time we update the next generation, and we go in this direction. I think that's just to help making it so that water doesn't like obviously flow in one way or something like that. Hey, Cooler, what's up? So let's think about this. Let's have a think. We want to So I guess before we really do that, kind of need to think about what we want water or just liquids to be able to do. We want liquid to like flow, and maybe we can say we want pressure. I don't know if yeah, I think it might be a good idea to try to factor these things into the rules. Otherwise, I think it might just be hard to try to retroactively add it in without having to redesign things. Because I do think it's going to have like, yeah, they're going to have significant impacts on the rules, right? To be able to properly support it. How's the baby? She's good. She's good. Just, you know, living. She's gained a little bit of weight, which is good. Trying to fatten her up some. Okay, so thinking here. Maybe before we get into this, I'm gonna take a short break. I'm not eating yet today, and so maybe getting a little bit of food in me will help me think. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. Thanks for sticking around, guys. Sorry, I just needed to eat some food. I think I didn't realize quite how hungry I was. Maybe also taking a break for a moment helped as well. So yeah, we're trying to figure out the rules for this. Hey, thanks guys. For this liquid being simulated. I think what we have so far is not great. Need to kind of reevaluate things. I was thinking about it while eating, and I think one of the problems or one of the challenges is that I've kind of been thinking of it like Conway's Game of Life or whatever, especially with this newer like generation solution, which I don't think is working out either. Um, but there's a big difference between this and Game of Life, which is that in Game of Life, a cell is only responsible for its own state, really. Like it never tries to mutate the state of other cells. But with this, there's this whole like concept of flow and like one cell is pulling from another cell or whatever. And so there's actually like this mutation happening where if one cell is empty and the cell above it is has liquid in it, then the water falls down, whatever. Or if we're looking at an empty cell, I mean a cell with water, and the cell below it's empty, then we say like okay, let's have the water drop down. So we have to move, we need to keep the same amount of quantity of liquid, otherwise we're, either losing or creating liquid. So we have to keep the quantity the same. So we take the liquid that's in the cell above and we move it to the cell below. So that means that regardless of which cell we are focused on, that, we are mutating, we're always going to be changing the state of another cell. I think that's a necessity with the system, but I think that's one of the things that I wasn't really completely factoring in, um especially whenever we're looking at this whole like splitting up between generations, and so that started like really messing with things. um yeah. Gonna make your own cellular automata. We're trying. um struggling a little here. Okay. Yeah, so someone linked this earlier. Which is definitely interesting. Wonder why the flow, it doesn't show the flow. Here, this is one thing that's different. They say in each iteration of our simulation, every cell that contains liquid will execute the same set of rules. Um, the one thing I saw here is it says Liquid will only flow if the destination cell has less liquid than the source cell. Which is, interesting. I don't completely understand that. Because then, like, if one cell has, let's say 5 and the cell below it has 7, then it won't fall into it. Then what happens to the, like, does it just fall off to the side? That seems kind of weird for it to do that. Yeah. I don't know about this. I mean, obviously what he has is kind of working, or it works okay. Just thinking about this more. Do, um, hmm. Do you want to make it in cells? Yeah, I mean, there'll be, like, yeah, the same size as tiles or something. Let's undo a bunch of these changes that obviously did not work out. I think it was exactly this. Yeah, here we go. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to think. This is harder than I remember. um, yeah, so we can see we have our block. Sometimes, like, so this is what we have so far. We have several problems with this. Like, one of the big things is that sometimes they'll just, like, stop in the air. I actually don't understand that whatsoever. Another thing is that the right side, like, keeps the blocks. I don't get that either. I think that's just a matter of it not waking up properly. So yeah, some of this is like a problem with the active state of things not being set properly. Maybe that's like the biggest thing. Like, you know what we could try doing just to... I mean, this is not the most efficient way of having things work, but if we do this, we just say for UN32 T index is equal to 0, index is less than the cells, so we could get rid of this too for now. Index is less than the automata liquid cells size. Increment index, right? I think that's all. We don't have to push back if it's active or not because everything is active. So we actually don't want this stuff because that's going to screw things up. Because our actives list would just keep growing. So this is where it's now just updating everything every single frame. If it has liquid, kind of like what this said. If it has liquid, it gets updated. Yeah. I'm really curious about that. I wish I hadn't. Oh. I see what was going on. If I keep clicking, it's preventing it from simulating the other stuff. One interesting thing is that why is it doing it like that? They like all fall down together. That is interesting. Why do they all go down together? I think part of the problem is with how things are being updated in here. Because I'm breaking out of that. No, it's not that. Break. Oh, wait. What am I breaking out of? Why am I breaking? While it's running. Interesting. Where are we updating the scheduler at? Fixed time step, here we go. I wonder if it was like breaking out of the outer loop as well. I don't see how that would be happening. I'm pretty sure I wanted continues there, not breaks. Yeah, that is so weird how, like, if I click, what would be causing that? What is causing that? That is... I'm actually kind of confused by this right now. Hey, Matrix Master. No problem. I'm struggling here, so it's all good. What is going on? Why is it that clicking is causing it to... What's weird is that it falls so quickly, like this. But then if you make a bunch, you can see it like falling more slowly, which I don't understand at all. But the frame rate's not really going lower. Yeah, the frame rate's staying consistent. What the heck? This is so weird. Update. Oh, you know what? I think it's because of that right there. That had a return in it. Ah, ha ha ha. That's our problem. I didn't see the return. That may have screwed up a lot of things, actually. Wow. That makes so much more sense now. Now they teleport down. Yeah, that's where, like, this is a problem that happens, which is why normally, like, you can see it better if we reverse these. So you can say, like, hey, while this is greater than, greater than or equal to 0. Oh, it's a uint 32. Let's do size t. Wait, size t, isn't that uint as well? Unsigned, yeah. Okay, maybe we want to say in32t. While index is greater than or equal to 0, minus minus index. So now we'll go from the bottom up. And since they're falling, we won't see it. Yeah, I know. One thing we could do is say +1 or something. I don't know. Oh, whoops. It needs to be -1. Yeah, that's a problem. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, okay, okay. Oh no, our water is disappearing. What's happening to it? Huh. And now it's suddenly there? It's definitely disappearing. I don't know why. I think it's a splitting issue where like we're losing some quantity. Oh yeah, it's right here. That's right. I forgot about this. Okay, so if the remainder is equal to 2, then we will add +1 to each of these. Otherwise, oh, I guess I have to do both. Yeah. Let's say 1, 2. 1 will just be the cell. Okay. That's what was happening, is that it was splitting it and we were losing it because of that. Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing that kind of sucks about this. This thing here. So like one thing we could do is say, hey, let's put the remainder on the cell it's moving to. The problem with that, and that will make it so it kind of evens out a little bit better and it won't hill up as much. But we do run into this issue where it will then did I even do anything? Oh, maybe this is still the problem. I guess that's a problem still. It isn't. Yeah. So I think having the remainder stay in the cell is what causes the issue. The problem is that it's like, which one should it really be going into? And I think that honestly, like that would depend based off of the flow. So you could say, hey, if the water's flowing to the left, then the quantity should go to the left. If the water's flowing to the right, then the remainder should go to the right. I'm gonna change this so I don't have to keep clicking. This says get the mod state. If this is if the mouse button down. Can we say event.type is SDL mouse button. Oh, I guess we just oops, mouse button. I see. Holding. Okay, so this is a hacky way to do this for now, where we will say SDL released. Up. Then we'll just always set the create water. Whoops. Let's rename that water to false. And then here we can just set it to true. And then if create water. This is gonna create a lot of water. A lot. Event. There's a way to get the mouse button some other way, right? Okay, mouse state. Yeah, it's right here. Okay, let's try that. Now we should be able to hold the mouse button or the mouse button down to create water instead of having to click for every single one. Nice. That makes it a little easier. Like, why does that happen? I guess because we don't... Actually, wait. We are reset. We are doing it for all of the cells every frame. We can see our FPS is much lower. Guess that happened... How did that happen? I'm not sure. What did we do? This is deleting the water, essentially. So, like, what about right there? Why is that not flowing to the side? Or this right here? Or that right there? Like, why is that not flowing over? What I'd like to do is be able to, like, see which one it's on. And break on that. There we go. Yeah, like, what about this? Why is that not flowing over to the side? What's happening with that? Why would it not? I get should flow. Maybe the cell type is not set. That's my best guess, is that it's currently set to like none or something. Like, I don't think I'm actually ever setting that, so... That could be the problem. It's the only thing I can think of. Or it's... getting stuck. No, I don't... Yeah, I wish I could get a... get the index for that position. Maybe I need to make the UI, change the UI so it actually can show that information. Right now, I don't really know if that's possible. Adding in stuff like that would be very useful though. Look at that. Look at this. It's so weird. Well, let's just remove this for right now and see if that ends up fixing it. It's definitely true that I'm not setting that at the moment. I do think that eventually, like, I do need to kind of be really looking at that though. It definitely happened a lot whenever I was like deleting the liquids. Not really sure. Just keep playing with it. I don't know, it looks pretty good right now. Right? Maybe that was the problem. Is that like the type was being set weird or something? You can see it does have that whole like sloping thing happening. I'm kind of surprised at that. How is that happening? Because shouldn't it be moving the liquid over? I guess maybe what happens is that it pulls it. No, we say it has to be greater than, right? Oh, I see it. It's because of this +1. Yeah, that's the problem. I think this will cause it to sometimes move back and forth though, which could be fixed with flow. So like we can have them bounce back and forth, and we might be able to see that in here. Actually, that looks pretty good. So we can see it kind of like evens out for the most part. This is definitely better. Yeah, it's evening out. Interesting that it pulls from over there. That's weird. I think it's just how it's updating. And that updates everything. And it's definitely looking better. So it deletes the water because we're setting that cell to only have 8 rather than full quantity. Yeah, that's the only thing that's a little weird right now is the deleting. Yeah. But it's also updating every single frame, which is something I don't really want. Um, yeah. Like, we could definitely put cells to sleep and mess with that stuff. Like, one thing we could do is put a flag on them to say if it's active or not. We can see if we actually have any performance boost off of that even. I mean, it probably would be a bigger difference based off of... So like here we have 120 frames. If we fill it up, so it's like... Let's have it so it's pretty much that. It's at 90. So we can definitely see we're losing some frames here. 90 to 100. This is in debug mode. So now what we could try doing is let's go, and this is where things like definitely get more complicated. If we say, let's add in a bool, active, having this list of actives, I guess is another option. One nice thing about that is then, yeah, I don't know. I kind of like that more, honestly. Maybe we'll try this. Go back to that. Perhaps what we could try doing is making this be a set. So we have a unordered set, or I forget what we call it. Types. What is it? We have a hash set. There we go. Which is our actives. So that's a set now, as meaning we can only have one entry per one, which means that we don't have to sort it anymore. So we'll leave this stuff commented out for now. And then we can iterate over it. It does mean that we need to add in a default constructor for the automata map, because we need to set up at least the empty key. I don't think we ever need to delete because we just clear, or maybe we do since we clear. That's going to be here. Automaton map, automaton map. So we have our actives. We have to set the empty key. So that can just be like max UN32. UN32 max. And then we can also have set the deleted key to be that -1. Oh, what's wrong with this? Actives is undefined. Total map. It should be fine. Or maybe it's because, no, the types is defined there. Total map. Argument lists for class template. Oh, right, duh. I forgot about that. Yes. So now we can have the automata liquid actives, iterate over all of those, and we can push these back. Well, not push back, I think it's add. Append? What is it? Insert? I don't think it's insert. We do need to clear it. Clear no resizes. probably what we want to do. Maybe it is insert. I guess so. Insert routines. Below index. Okay. So this, we'll see if this is actually better. This line contains an unmatched. Oh, whoops. What's the problem? Reserve. Oh. Oh, I did also forget to clear at the end the reserve or the actives. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, wait, hold up. I'm iterating over the actives. I need to copy them, huh? Because I'm trying to modify it in place. That does not work. That doesn't work. I wonder what's the best way to go about doing that. Bucket. What's the best way to do that? To just copy it? Here's what I'm thinking. Yeah, just that. Oh, and then this would be clear, no resize. Keeps the number of buckets constant. Because we're probably going to end up refilling it. Alright, I think that will work. So basically we copy it over into actives. We then into a temp actives variable. And then we clear the actives, iterate over the temp actives variable so that way we can push onto actual pushback actives. Insert. Yeah. We'll see what the performance looks like for this. Huh? Oh, duh. I need to put this in the HPP file. What am I thinking? What am I thinking? By the way, welcome everyone that has joined. Thanks for being interested in what I'm working on. If you guys have any questions, you are more than welcome to ask. We're working on this projectDIG 2D automation survival sandbox game. developing our own custom C++ engine here, and right now adding in cellular automata. Whoa, it's making more liquid than it should. That's what it seems like, at least. So we can see that the frame rate's definitely better, like while it's sitting here. Let's see if I even said, like while it's here, do we have any actives? 21. Wonder what they are doing. Still 21. So 16, yeah, this is what I was kind of talking about, where they never come to rest because there's like 1 pixel difference, and so they're like alternating between the two. And what might end up actually happening is that you don't even see them moving, because what happens is that it's like, oh, the left one, you know, let's say you have cell 1 and cell 2. Cell 1 has 16, cell 2 has 15. And so it's just like moving that top one over. So it goes from 15 to 16, and then it immediately goes back to the other one because we're updating, we're not alternating. And so if we're alternating which ones we were updating, then that would kind of fix it. Like, what would you have to do for that? Something like static bool evens equal. I mean, we can put it down here for now, just to mess with this. Equals false. And then what we could just do is say evens is equal to not evens, whatever. And then we'd say if the index of this, if index mod 2 is equal to 0, and that should be equal to some value, is then equal to evens, or not equal to, whatever, doesn't matter, then we can continue. This is super janky. Crucibility, welcome back to the siege. Crucibility. Crucibility. It's kind of a tricky one. Hey, thanks for the continued support. I appreciate it. What's up? Oh, now, oh, that's a cool looking one. Now it does not fall. That's weird. Oh, yeah. That's my bad. I need to actually calculate the cell X, huh? In this case. Because we don't want the index, we want the cell X. And that's even kind of wrong because I think technically we would want to have it be more of a checkerboard. So it'd be like, it would need to alternate, so it's based off of the Y as well. Yeah, that's not working. Trying to hack it's not working. Why would that not work? Is not equal to the evens. I feel like that should be working. There must be a better way to do this. How do you alternate? Would be the best way to do that. I mean, all you really have to do, like a better way for this, would be to add one. So instead of evens, you would just say like alternating equals 0. And so this would just alternate between 1 and 0. That's alternating. I don't know the best way to do that. I guess maybe what I had up there. I mean, we could just do this. If not alternating, or if alternating is equal to 0, then set it to 1, otherwise set it to 0. And then this could be cellx plus alternating. So you don't have to do that extra thing. But still with the Y value. I mean, maybe this would have been better if it was a bool, and then we just add the bool. Probably. Instead of some janky conditional check. Can't you also just like, oh yeah, duh. Can we just do that? Isn't 1, 1, 0, 0, 1? Yeah, so this will just toggle it. Yeah. Flip the bit. Yeah, duh. This is much better. So just flipping that bit. Duh. I was like, there must be a better way to do this. So we can flip the bit, and then we add it, and so that would do this nicely. Except that I think we also want to calculate the cell Y and factor that in as well. Like this. So this is divide. And then it would be plus cell Y mod 2. Yeah. I think that's right. So if we have, if it's position, well, we can just try this. And we can break into it and see what it says. So this is either going to be 0 or 1. And every row it's going to alternate. So you can see down here, it's flipping between those two. I'm pretty sure that's because it's now working correctly. What? Why did that get stuck up there? Not sure what's happening there. Not waking that cell up properly. Oh, it's because I clear it. Yeah, that's a problem. Is that if I skip it, we should technically be pushing it back onto the list, which is kind of sucky. We just need to say insert index. So we're like, hey, we actually didn't handle this one. So let's postpone updating it until the next frame. So we can watch the frame rate up there. But yeah, you can see there it's pretty hard to tell. I wish I had like a way to zoom in or something. But basically we have these cells alternating between the two states. But this is actually, I'm pretty sure, properly doing a checkerboard now. And that it's and what would be cool, and we might be able to do this here. Yeah, we could totally do this. Watch this. This is cool. It might look a little confusing. What do we want? We want this right here. I guess we want all of that. Oh, we already calculate the X and Y? Well, kind of. We'll just do this. So yeah, we'll make this be a thing, and then we have the color. And so for now, just since we're hacking this in, we'll say that this is color. Color is equal to that. Watercolor, or it could be some other color, like maybe 255 0, or we'll do green. And this needs to be changed to color. And I think we technically are supposed to get rid of that. Oh wait, no, I see. We need to get rid of that one. Looks really good. Thanks, T-Void. Yeah, we're kind of making it work. I don't know if this is what we're actually gonna end up keeping, but it's kind of working. Index. Oh, index is size T in this case. And that's int 32. Do we really need it to be an int 32? Can't I make that be uint? Size T to uint. Maybe I need to make it so that the width is not a size T. Oh no, it's the index that's a size T. That's my problem. Oh, so this is still gonna run into an issue. Oh no, never mind. Ooh. It's alternating. It's kind of hard to tell. Okay, that's cool and all. Let's slow it down. So this will be cool. This is actually something that I added in that is gonna be really cool that we can do. Which is whenever you register a system, you can add in the frequency. And so this is a millisecond. So let's make it so that it's only updating once a second. Do you draw your own art? No, I have typically hired people in the past. So we can say once a second, it will update the liquid system, which is actually really cool that we can do something like this. That is not listening to me. What's going on there? Time step, system timer. Okay, let's look at this. Well, which system is this? Animations. Okay, skip, skip, skip. Here we go. Timer. Time remaining. Why does that not work right? Okay, I am doing something wrong. Scheduler.cpp, whenever we schedule it, or no. Oh, I take the frequency, but I don't actually use it. That's a problem. Okay. So we have the timer here. So that's our system. Systems. I'm surprised that this actually lets us do that. Does this work? I don't think Jason will look for artists for a while, for Dig at least. Yeah, it's gonna be a while. Definitely. Yeah. Like, many months, I think. Okay, let's look at the systems this way. Automata, time remaining. Okay, cool. So that looks like it might be working now. Okay, maybe that is a little slow. But we fixed it. So we found a little issue. Let's try. Let's try 10 times faster. So 100 milliseconds. I really like that we have that. Once they settle, it's still a little hard to see. But you can see it's basically a checkerboard. So it's alternating. They're overlapping, which makes it a little harder to see. One thing we could always do to help with that is go into where we are drawing and let's subtract 1 from that and maybe add 1 to the Y position. Flash warning, yeah, seizures, warning about seizures, may induce seizures. Don't stare directly at screen. Okay, so that's a little easier to see. Maybe it's kind of hard. But yeah. That's actually looks like it's messed up a little bit. Wait, why'd that? Oh, I must have dragged it out. Whee! Cool. Hey, Brutarius. How's it going? So we can like easily disable that by just going back to here, comment that stuff out, go back to the watercolor. Maybe we do want to have it not quite simulate quite so fast. We could say every like 4 frames, basically. Go with that. But still pretty fast. A lot of cells bouncing. Like, why would those be bouncing? That doesn't quite make sense. Oh, I think it's because it's like flowing over. No, that doesn't completely make sense. Yeah, so one thing we need to do if we ever set a cell, and this actually might fix it. So if we ever say that a cell, or set the cell, I guess it would be here, right? It's not just the map position, but we also need to say it's the neighbors around it. So we need to do like mouse position, x -1. I mean, one thing we could do for now is just say tile vector, right? Mouse position. Yeah, this is better anyways. Yeah, because we kind of really want to do tile vector. Tile position is equal to the mouse position. So we convert that over, and then this can be the tile position. And then we want to say let's -1, so that's going over to the left, go to the right, go up, go down. So that will activate all of the neighbors, and I'd probably really want to make this a function where it's like, hey, this tile, and like maybe that's where we want to do that inside of the set function, is just do this. I don't completely get that though. It still is acting a little weird. I wonder if it is because of the alternating. Like right there on the bottoms, like why would it if the, and here's another case. If the tile above it is full, why is it that that tile is not being like filled from the tile above it? Maybe it's because of the alternating. I think that's it. Is that it like happens to be that the tile, I think that's what's happening, is that the way it's alternating is that the tile above it, whenever it's updating, the tile above it is full whenever it is full. And, or something like that. Which is why this is one thing you could always do to try to like fix it is also check to see. So we support. Yeah, we support pulling, having water fall down, but we could also check to see if the tile above it has liquid. So kind of do the opposite of this, which is above index. We can play with this and see if that fixes it. Above index, above cell. So we need to say if the above cell quantity is greater than, oh wait. So we know that the cell quantity is equal to 0. Okay, so what we need to do is say, in this case, we only want to do this is if this cell quantity is less than the max liquid quantity. So we can put liquid in it, right? Yeah. If we can put liquid in it, then we check the cell above it. If the cell above it has any liquid, it's greater than 0. This is where we need to make sure that it's, oh, this is actually a problem, is that this could become a negative number. Right? I guess one thing you could just do is say that index needs to be greater than, yeah, that's true. We could do this. Index is greater than the automata liquid cell size. And this is going to be minus. So we move up. If the cell above it has any quantity in it, then what we want to do is put the liquid, wait, above cell. So kind of doing the opposite of what we were doing up there. This might cause things to be weird. This might break stuff. Actives is the above index. This is the index. Actually, this should be, this should do it for both, huh? Above cell, no, this would just be cell. If the cell is greater than the max, then we want to put some back into the cell above it. Right. Otherwise, it's empty. So it's kind of the opposite, where the above cell, yeah. Okay, we can try this. So this is where we have the water coming from the cell down, and this other one is where we're, yeah, it's kind of hard to explain, actually. We still have this problem where I can alternate. Didn't really seem to help anything. So this is where, I wonder if it's that the cell above it has gone to sleep, and so we're never update. No, because we are. That's weird. I see. That cell is empty. So wait, if we do that. Okay, let me think about that. That's wrong. So that cell is dropping down. I guess we need to wake up the if the cell changes, do we just need to wake up all of the neighbors? Maybe so. Maybe that's the problem. Because what happens is that it's being pulled down. Actually, this might be the thing that's messing it up. Now that I think about it. Right. Well. Oh, whoops. That's the wrong one anyways. I might be wrong on that. Maybe we need to wake... Yeah, I think we might just need to wake up all of the neighbors. Well, I say wake, but I mean activate. Set it into the active list. We'll see. We'll do the same scenario. Set it up. Let it flow out some. Yeah, this is sometimes getting weird. And then we'll subtract. Yeah, so it still does get messed up. Yeah, that's the challenge with having the actives is like you have to make sure that you're updating everything and adding stuff. So maybe what we could do, we can make this be a thing. So we could go to here and just say that we want a new template, class T, void activate neighbors. We'll do the same thing. Automaton map T. Wait, we say that this is a const, and how are we changing it? Oh, it's because I'm lying to it. Yeah, okay, I'm surprised that was working. Map, const tile, vector, position. Okay, so now we'll go to here. I don't need those. Oh, whoops. These are all just positions now. Probably easier to do this. I don't really like creating the new position there. It'd be easier to say x -1 or just minus. I guess that kind of doesn't really work, huh? Minus equal 1, plus equal 2. Oh, one thing we could do is just do a move. Position, y. Because then now we kind of need to go back to this. It's a little wonky. Oh, whoops. I need to be doing it like this. You know, actually, now that I think about it, this is going to be much better. Let's just do this. So the one problem is with this whole assert thing, and then neighbors, we do need some type of like conditional checking to make sure that the neighbor, it's not on the edge, which does suck. But yeah, if we do this, then we don't have to keep recalculating that, right? We could just say, hey, we want to update the left neighbor, which is -1. We want to do the right neighbor, which is +1. We want to do whatever's above it, which is minus the map width, and then do whatever's below it. So the problem with this is that we need to make sure that we're not going out of bounds on these. So like this would just be if the index is greater than the map width or equal to, right? Here this is, the index is less than, oh wait. Yeah, it would have to be the map cell size minus the width. It has to be less than that. Yeah, that should be right. This one's a little trickier, the X and Y. We have to do what we were doing, or we have the, I guess that's true. We have the X position right here. So we could just say if position.x is greater than 0. No, it needs to be, yeah, greater than 0, right? And then if the position.x is less than the map width, is it map width or map width -1? Hey, Big Blue Frog. Thanks. Yeah, having Andrew join the team is definitely big news. It's awesome. Excited. We have been chatting it up and kind of planning out some big changes for Korea for Siege games. So yeah, it's exciting. We'll slowly be rolling that stuff out to you guys. Yeah, he's definitely a talented developer. Happy to be working with him. Alright, I think this is good. This is a much more efficient way to go about doing that. So we can just say activate neighbors, and then we can also go to here and maybe we can try this, which is to say, hey, let's activate the neighbor. Oh, that's true. Is that dang. What if we pass in let's do this. We're gonna overload this. We're gonna provide it an index. 32T index. And then let's also provide it the X, the cell X. We don't really need it to be a const. Even 32T cell X. We could just say X, whatever. So then this will just call into that. We'll say activate neighbors map. Here's our index. It's right here. And then position. Position function.x is equal to that. And then now we don't need to we'll need to update this. Should be fine. It's not wanting to autocomplete though. The reason I wanted to do that, is because now I can just call that and say, hey, here's our automata liquid map to index. And oh wait, I wanted the below index for this one, right? Below index. And then our cell x minus 1. Or no, it's still x. Yeah. The x hasn't actually changed. What's wrong with this? Oh. So then, like here, you say left index is going to be cell minus 1. I need to make sure, yeah. Gonna have a +1. So this is one unfortunate thing about this is it's actually going to be doing a lot more work now. So we might want to end up changing how this is actually working. But yeah. Because it's going to like try to insert into this actives a lot more now, right? And that's where maybe it could be worth it having a bool check. I don't know. I'm not really sure. Like, it might end up being that it's just faster to not do it this way at all. That's what I'm kind of thinking. Activate neighbors. What's wrong with this? Should be able to figure out the T automatically, right? HTTP. Oh, am I not including the HTTP inside of the CPP? I'm not. Oh wait, that's the wrong file. I'm not. Okay, that's the problem. Yeah, it might be faster if I just always look at all of the cells or something. I don't know. It's hard to say. Oh, I think that's supposed to be an int x. What's cell x? Cell x is an int. Below index is a uint. Okay, so that did not fix this. Being compiled. So that's an N32. Index is a UN32. Okay, so maybe I should just treat all of those. This is something I did in Korea a lot. Maybe I should just treat all of the indices as ints. So annoying. Or I guess the other way to do it is to change the width to be... That's the other way to do it. Let's change the width to be a uint. This is something I always struggled with in Korea, is like knowing when to make it be an unsigned and when not to. Okay. But this seems fine. Right? It says human 32 and 32 warning. I see. So now this is cell X is I don't know. I think I'm just gonna change everything to be an int 32, honestly. There's no reason to really make it be uint. And just makes everything kind of more of a pain, honestly. And be an int. And then in here, this should be an int. 32. Oh, that was part of the problem, I think. Cool. I think it's just easier if I make them all ints. Whee! Yeah, still jittering a bunch. It looks like it's jelly. We got some liquid jelly here, guys. Yeah, it bounces a lot. But yeah, we can see that it properly, like, it definitely updates things correctly. Like that evened out nicely over time. The frame rate, like. Okay. Be a lot better if these weren't bouncing back and forth. What happens when it overflows the container? This right here? I'll just hit the bottom of the map. We can't see the bottom of the map, but it does have a bottom. Like if we just kept filling it up, we'd eventually see it fill. But I don't know how far down it goes. So it might be that it would take a long time. And we can, it's 200 tiles. So it's pretty far down. And we can easily shrink it if we want. We can just say, hey, let's go over here and we go up to like 40 or something. Where's that at? Here. World size. Oh, we're just using the entire world. So we could make this smaller. We could say this is let's say 50 by 50. I think that should be fine. Okay, I guess that goes still beyond the bounds of the world. Maybe we need to try like 4. Oh. I was surprised at that. Let's try 40-40. It must have hit like one of the bounds. This is actually a good way to make sure that this other stuff is working. Like the bounds checking. Oh, whoops. 40 is too small. I think it goes, yeah, we'll try like 42. I think it goes up to 40 with this. Okay, let me see where it's trying to do this. Map width 42. Oh, it's trying to draw. Segment tile is 16 by 16. I see. So it technically wants it to be in multiples of 16. So I think that's something that we could fix. Okay, so that's not fixing it. I think it's trying to draw the edge of the world tile index. The 2304. 48. The 48 is the edge. So technically, I should at that point say, hey, it's this hit the size of the world. So this is oh 64. Okay, so and I think what we just need to do here is say pick the min between that and the size of the world. Map.width. Kind of the same thing here. Map.height. I think that will fix this. So I won't ever try to render tiles outside of the map. So yeah, we actually don't need it to be multiples of. Let's see. It does seem like it's trying to hit something here. Yeah. Cells index 2304. So for some reason that got added, even though it shouldn't have been. So it's probably, well, it's almost absolutely this code right here. Like maybe this needs to be -1. That's my guess. Right, or is it this? Map width. Oh yeah, that needs to be -1. Or wait, and I think Yeah, there we go. I think that's it. Because we're adding it, so yeah. We might also have this wrong. This one down here. Okay. Let's try to make it a little bit smaller so I can see. It also, it would be nice if I could just had a camera. That's something that is on the list of things to do, is add a little camera so I could like move it with WASD or something, or shift click, whatever. Oh, looks like I cut it off. That's weird. That's definitely weird. The rendering is messed up there. Why is it like that? Oh yeah, we can now see it piling up on the bottom. Oh, whoops. I tried to create it. Yeah, that was a mistake. I think there's a problem with this tile rendering where it won't add the tile vertices if it like goes beyond the edge of the world. Something. I'm getting tired. Ah. Party pop count. There's actually an issue with this code. I'm not gonna worry about it right now. We can worry about it later. Whenever I add in the camera or something. Yeah, okay, cool. This is actually kind of a good place for me to stop. So we got like some basic water simulation going on. Not amazing, but it works. So like tomorrow what we can do is start working on flow and add in that concept as well as pressure. We'll start with flow. And so flow is like, hey, the water is moving in this direction, so prefer like to move more water in that way. And you know, like whenever, and then what we could do is have it so that as less water is moving, like the lower the, like as flow moves, diagonally it slows down. Um and whenever it falls, maybe it gains some speed. And so like if it hits, so as water is falling, um we can say that it has like this concept of like I guess like speed, really, momentum, velocity. And whenever it hits the ground and it moves to the sides, that's when we say, hey, now it has this additional like a instead of having a downward flow, it has the flow pointing in whatever direction it's falling in, or it moves in. So, you know, if it like we have water, it drops down here, it hits this tile, it then has the flow moving to the left. And then maybe if it starts falling more, it then reverts back or something like that. I don't know exactly how we would want to do that. Um, and then as it moves horizontally, it slows down. And that would make it so that once the flow like hits 0 or something like that, like every single time you can see it's jittering back and forth. And so what we could do is just say, hey, don't move anymore if the flow is 0. And then it will just stop moving and it'll finally like actually settle. So flow will help with that. And then pressure will be a challenge. I have to have this like concept of like there's some amount of quantity or like quantity within a tile and it can kind of like compress. And so if there's like if the tile above it is full, like maybe tiles kind of like you can put more in a tile than what's the maximum quantity, but it tries to push out to some degree. Something like that. I don't know exactly. We'll have to think about that. And so yeah, it can have more, but it also tries to like push out. So that should be interesting. But yeah, I think that's a good stopping point for now. We made pretty good progress. It was rough at first, but I think we got something working now. Yeah, so thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it. If you're not following already, feel free to follow. You can also find the VODs over on YouTube. And yeah, like I said, I'll be back tomorrow. I'm not completely sure what time. My schedule is a little wonky because of the new baby, and I'm watching my daughter in the mornings to let the wife sleep in a little bit more because she's up late at night with the newborn. Um, so yeah, not exactly sure about that. Sorry. I'll try to figure out the schedule whenever I can. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Take care.